Hello, story lovers, and welcome to Around the World in 40 Tales. My name is Doreen Vanderstoop, and I am a storyteller, musician, and writer, and a proud member of Storytelling Alberta for many years. So this year, our organization is celebrating its 40th birthday. And to honor this wonderful, momentous milestone, we invited Storytelling Alberta members, past and present, to gift us a story of 5 to 10 minutes in any genre from anywhere in the world, from the prairies to the Alps to the Serengeti. We are live streaming these stories throughout this special year. And as we go along, we are tracking where in the world these stories come from, and then posting those on a world map on our website, storytellingalberta.com. So as we go along, do check out the website and see where our imaginations or our real lives have taken us. We wish to acknowledge that Storytelling Alberta celebrates the oral tradition on the traditional territories of the Indigenous signatories to Treaties 4, 6, 7, and 8. And these territories also include the Métis settlements and the Métis Nation of Alberta. We acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who have cared for and told stories on these lands for generations. We make this acknowledgement with sincerity in the spirit of gratitude and reconciliation. So it is my honor today to be both host and storyteller for Around the World in 40 Tales. So I am grateful to the storytelling community, for I have done so many wonderful storytelling activities and events with my wonderful storytelling colleagues, and I'm so grateful to all of them for that. I'm also grateful to the vibrant writing community in Calgary that allowed me to publish my first novel in 2020, Watershed, by Freehand Books. So grateful for the community for supporting that effort as well. So my story today is a reimagining of a traditional tale that exists in many countries around the world, but I couldn't find one that fit or that was from my home country of the Netherlands. And so I adapted it to be set in the Netherlands. As you can see, I am here today in medieval Delft in the Netherlands, and that's where this story takes place. It is called The Delft Blue Pot. Long ago, a girl named Anneke lived with her parents outside the walled city of Delft. From a very young age, Anneke had an important job. She had to go down to the Great Delft Canal and draw water and bring it back up the hill to the house to help with the cooking, the cleaning, and the laundry. Now, Anneke's parents were potters. And so when Anneke was young, they helped her make 2 ceramic pots to carry the water in. Once the pots were fired in the kiln, well, then Anneke painted them. And she painted one tulip red and the other Delft blue. And on each of them, she painted wildflowers. Anneke loved wildflowers. She painted bluebells and snowdrops and narcissus and roses. So each day she would attach those pots to the end of a yoke that she would put across her shoulders. And then she would go down to the canal, fill those pots with water, and carry them back up the hill to the house. Now she did this for many years, and Anneke got older, her parents got older, and her pots got older too. One day, Anneke looked at her Delft blue pot, and she noticed a crack in the side. She picked it up tenderly, and she said, "Oh, my little pot, will you still hold water?" And she stroked her finger gently across the crack. But as usual, she went down to the canal and drew water into both pots. But when she got to the top of the hill, she noticed that the Delft blue pot was only half full. But she decided there was enough water to do the cooking, the cleaning, and the laundry. And she decided all was well. All that spring, Annika went down to the canal to draw water, and each day when she came back up, the Delft blue pot was only half full. But she still thought all was well. What Annika didn't know was that her creativity, her artistry, and her love had imbued those pots with a spirit of their own. And the Delft blue pot was miserable. Every day when Annika climbed back up the hill, he looked at the full tulip red pot, and he hoped that that day he too would hold all the water that he was supposed to. And every day when he got to the top, he was only half full. One evening, in their resting place in the shed, the Delft blue pot cried out, "I'm no good. I'm no good. I'm just no good." The tulip red pot looked at him and said, "Stop your whining. No one wants to hear from a pot." But the next morning, the Delft blue pot noticed that the crack was even wider. And this time, as Annika climbed back up the hill, he cried out, "Annika, I'm no good. You must throw me away." Annika stopped dead in her tracks, and she looked all around. She looked up the hill and down, and she called out, "Who's there?" The blue pot said, "It is me, your blue pot. I have a crack in my side, and I lose all my water when I climb the hill with you. You must throw me away. I'm no good." Annika looked down at her pot in amazement. She had always felt that they had a life of their own, but now she knew it was true. She looked at the blue pot and she said, "But little blue pot, you're not paying attention. Look outward, not inward, and see what has happened." For once, the Delft blue pot looked outward, and he looked down the path towards the canal, and he saw a beautiful ribbon of color on one side of the path. Annika said, "I have always known about the crack in your side, and so I planted wildflower seeds along your side of the path. And each day, as we climbed back up the hill to the house, you watered those flowers. And now look, they are beautiful." And the Delft blue pot was delighted, for he looked at that ribbon of color and he knew what Annika always had, that no matter how old we get, we still add beauty to the world. And that is the story of the Delft blue pot. I'd like to thank all of you for listening. And if you'd like to email me, please do so at dvanderstoop@gmail.com. If you'd like to reach out to Storytelling Alberta, it's storytellingalberta@gmail.com. So warm thanks again for joining us today for Around the World. Join us next Thursday when we will have another tale to tell. Take care.